This is a demo for the Yellow Pages, which is an application that enables the first and only public, anonymous, post-quantum proofs of Bitcoin ownership built by Project 11. Let's talk about the problem that this solves in more detail. In Bitcoin, a type of cryptographic tool called a digital signature is used to prove ownership over an address containing some coins. This proof is the basis for any transaction and demonstrates the principle of self-sovereignty unique to crypto, which is often referred to as not your keys, not your crypto. Unfortunately, the digital signatures used in Bitcoin today are insecure against a quantum computer. And that means these classical signatures are no longer sufficient to prove ownership over your Bitcoin. So after a quantum computer exists, they might be your keys, but they're not necessarily your crypto. The good news is we don't believe quantum computers exist today, but they could soon. So prior to this happening, we need to provide a way to create a proof of ownership that is post-quantum secure. And that is exactly what the Yellow Pages does. It allows a user to create a post-quantum secure claim of ownership, which binds an existing Bitcoin address to a post-quantum digital signature. By registering on the Yellow Pages, you now have a claim of ownership over your Bitcoin, even in a world where a quantum computer exists. So, let's walk through the claim process. The first step is to generate a new seed phrase that will create the private keys used to generate a post-quantum signature. This interface should look very familiar if you've ever created a crypto wallet before. The important note is that there isn't any value directly associated with this seed phrase, but it's still important to write it down, save it in a safe place, and not share with anyone because this seed phrase is the basis of your post-quantum claim over Bitcoin, which does have value. So you can click this button to reveal your seed phrase and write it down, or you can just click copy and copy it over somewhere safe here before moving on to the next step, which is to verify that you copied it down in the correct order. I'm going to skip the rest of this step for the purposes of this demo. So now let's assume we've generated our seed phrase and we're on step 3. In this step, I'm actually going to sign a message with my Bitcoin wallet attesting to the association or binding of this new quantum key pair with an existing Bitcoin account. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use the Electrum wallet, which is a popular open source wallet for Bitcoin. So I'm just going to enter in my password here and click on the Addresses tab. Note that in this demo, I haven't put any Bitcoin in any wallet yet, so I'm not really protecting anything here. But an important note is that the Yellow Pages does not require a user to pay any fees at all because the entire process happens off-chain, so this will still work. So I'm just going to choose this top address here that I want to sign with. I'm going to right-click and scroll down to Sign Verify Message. I have the address here, which I'm going to copy back over to the Yellow Pages app and click Confirm. So now the app has generated a message which includes 2 new post-quantum addresses alongside the Bitcoin address that I entered. These 2 addresses correspond to 2 different types of post-quantum signature schemes standardized by NIST. These different schemes all have different trade-offs, so it's unclear which will ultimately be adopted in the Bitcoin protocol. But for Yellow Pages, we can support as many different types of post-quantum signature schemes as we want here. And so the last step is just to copy this entire message over back to the Electrum wallet and paste it where it says message and click sign. I'm going to be prompted again for my password here, which I'm going to enter. And now I have a signature, which I'll copy. Copy this. And I'm going to just enter that back in here. And looks like we've got success. I'm going to go ahead and hit complete and wait for the process to conclude. Okay, great, we're done. Our registration is complete. Note that this claim is only a proof that we own Bitcoin at some fixed point in time. So if I had assets in this wallet and where I move assets in or out of the address, you may want to submit a new claim using the same address. So now we're going to go through the process of how to check as whether or not a specific address is registered in the Yellow Pages. And so here we are on the landing page for the Yellow Pages application. And instead of register, we're going to go ahead and click on check the directory here and we're going to paste in the Bitcoin address that we registered with in the prior step and press search. And here's the registration we just made with the same post-quantum addresses from the prior step associated with the same Bitcoin address that we used and that we searched for. Something important to note here is that we don't see a signature associated with this Bitcoin address. The reason for this is that signing a message in Bitcoin exposes the wallet public key, which is something that we want to avoid because it potentially reveals this critical information to a quantum adversary who could use that to recover the private key and steal funds. So in order to verify the signature, we use a secure enclave on a remote server that the client connects to directly. So in this process, the user never reveals their public key to anyone, including Project 11. It's also worth noting that establishing the session with the secure enclave uses a recently standardized protocol called ML-Chem that is itself post-quantum secure. And that's exactly what this button here it talks about. This is the proof that is returned from the remote server, from the enclave, with all of the information about the proof itself and effectively the verification that the signature was valid without having to show the public key. So that's the Yellow Pages. For a more extensive FAQ, you can go to yellowpages.xyz/FAQs, and this has more answers to various questions that you may have. Thanks a lot for your attention. If you found this interesting and you want to learn more about quantum computing and its relevance to Bitcoin, please check out our website at project11.com or Twitter or X. We're on @QDayClock. Thank you very much.